your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show, always helping you win in any marketplace. A more informed consumer is what we're looking for out there. 10 years on air. Real excited about our team. Lots of good stuff happening here. Follow us online at Consumer Quarterback Show, at CQB Show. And Brandon Rhymes here, your number one consumer advocate, real estate talk show, top 100 ranked real estate team, Keller Williams Sports and Entertainment. We always feature our listings on air. We're going to get to that, but I want to give you a little lineup teaser today. We got Jenny Restrepo coming in. She represents Insured Title Agency right here in Tampa Bay. We're going to talk about real estate trends, fraud. She's able to overturn a lot of these fraudulent activities that are trying to happen, but they're able to stop it. And we'd like to bring it to your attention because there's a lot of scams happening these days, of course, with artificial intelligence and other things, making it more complicated. So we're going to make you more street smarts there. And attorney Jason Kobal also on the show. One of our favorite attorneys here locally, does a great job. We're going to talk about his firm, Kobal Law, work comp, personal injury law, and of course we're going to dive into a little bit as a legal analyst. We're going to ask him his thoughts on the FBI Burisma as well. And we do have race tickets available. If you have not visited our social media sites, all you have to do is go to our social media, and we're going to have some raise tickets given away. It's going to be the second time we've done this. Compliments and special thanks to Mike Murphy, Murphy Auto Group. Raise tickets available at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram, Brandon Rhymes PA, and then CQB Show, and of course the real Mike Murphy as well. So we got two raise tickets. These are not just regular seats. These are VIP suites, upper deck there. You got the food, parking passes as well. Raise tickets giveaway, Consumer Quarterback Show. And we always like to feature our real estate properties, and we got a new one here, a brand new listing here at 8328 Red Spruce Avenue in Riverview. 8328 Red Spruce Avenue, Riverview, Florida. This is a beautiful property. It's a great community as well. A lot of times you get such a great home, but you also have all of the community amenities. 3 pools, you got a splash park pad, multiple playgrounds, and more. You got affordable HOA fees, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bath. The kitchen has stainless steel appliances, tile. Just a beautiful home here. Great opportunity. 8328 Red Spruce Avenue in Riverview, Florida. Dark wood cabinets and a large pantry. Lots of storage. Beautiful, good-sized rooms. And just a great opportunity here in beautiful Tampa Bay. That one's in Riverview. That's Hillsborough County, Red Spruce Avenue. And one of our favorites right now is 3704 Burger Road. This is a mansion for sale, $2.4 million. One of our mansions that we have listed, one of our multi-million-dollar homes, 10,000 square feet, 10 bedrooms, 12 bath. This one has a tennis court, library, movie theater, sauna, master suites, grand balcony, and more. 3704 Burger Road in Lutz, Florida, Hillsborough County. Indoor pool is amazing. Just think about some of the cool parties you could throw there, networking events, and great opportunity to own real estate right here in Tampa Bay. PlatinumCoastalElite.com. You can see all of our listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
And yeah, I'm racing my class to those saving our ass overseas.
All right, we got attorney Jason Kobal, Kobal Law. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you, Brandon. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So we had Father's Day over the weekend, and I was just looking at one of my favorite parody sites, and it says, for Father's Day, Hunter negotiates 12% for the big guy. A touching Father's Day gesture, Hunter Biden has negotiated for 12% of incoming bribes to foreign governments to his dad. This is a joke, by the way, folks, Babylon Bee. But it means the world to me, said an emotional Biden. Well, more accurately, it means about $2.3 million in my bank account. Babylon Bee. What a funny site, huh?
Yeah, it sounds like the big guy got a raise. I thought it was 10% that went to the big guy. Maybe he got a little raise.
That's right. Yeah, he did. He negotiated. Hunter was a negotiator for his daddy there. But, yeah, this whole FBI stuff, this weaponization of the DOJ, and just even the way that they're taking this, you can relate it to everything from the vaccines to the mandates to the lockdowns. But more, when they go and arrest the number one contender, leading in the polls, it's a whole new level, Jason.
Oh, it's a disgrace. And people don't realize tomorrow, John Durham's going to testify. You're going to hear more about this. But I read his report, and it's really just not only was there insufficient evidence to even open the Trump-Russia probe, which obviously turned into the Mueller probe and ate up 3 years of his presidency, there was insufficient evidence to open that criminal investigation. But even more than that, I learned from the report, Durham's report, that 5 days before they opened Crossfire Hurricane, the Trump-Russia probe, they received a letter from the CIA that told them it was Hillary's plan or strategy to distract from her criminal investigation to pin Trump as conspiring with Russia to win the election. So they knew before they opened that probe that it was just Hillary's scheme to try to help her in the election. They opened it anyway. So not only was there insufficient evidence to open it, they knew that about Hillary's plan, and they still open it. That's just disturbing.
It really is, and we don't put it past them anymore. We know what's going on. I think most people do, and to me, if you're still like a Biden fan or you're kind of a hardcore Democrat, like how can you do that? You really need to look deep inside and just think, where's your moral compass, right? In these situations, when all of this stuff happens, and you still continue to be married to that decision that maybe you made 8 years ago, or maybe because your father was or your uncle was, it's. To me, I just don't understand how people can support this. And I think a lot of times when there's polls, people aren't truthful. They're like, hey, I'm not going to even say anything. There's that whole shadow vote that's out there. And I think people are scared today, Jason, even to put stuff on social media or to like a post. People are scared, and that's what they want to do, right?
Oh, man, you nailed it. That's exactly what they want, and they're getting that. And then you know what? It is scary because we see the DOJ weaponized. Nobody wants to mess with that. And we see people get beat up just for wearing a MAGA hat. I mean, it's scary times. But, when you get nailed like that by John Durham and he exposes that we had a political, huge investigation like that targeted Trump, and then after getting that reprimand, you go ahead and indict a president for the first time ever, the same person that you were targeting with the other investigation you should have never opened. It's disturbing.
Yeah, it really is. One of my favorite shows on TV is Yellowstone, and I was going back through just watching some episodes, and it's very powerful. Probably one of the most powerful episodes in TV I've ever seen. Just a great show. If you don't know, it's kind of a Western, but it also has a real estate development tie to it and some, of course, some drama and some criminal activity, things like that. But John Dutton, he's a big landowner out in Montana. He has John Dutton Sr., who's passing away. John Dutton Jr., of course, is the son, which is Kevin Costner. He unhooks up his dad from the IVs, and he's on his deathbed. His dad's, old and gray, probably in his 90s, and they get on the horse, and he puts him on a horse and takes him out basically to where he's going to die. He takes him out to the mountains, and they're riding a horse, and he's overlooking the mountains there and the range and the beautiful valleys and just the beauty in nature. And he says something. He turns to him. He says, "John," he said, "son, don't let him take an inch. Don't give him an inch. Don't give him a GD inch." And to me, I relate that to not only just land, of course, land, and we're selling land to the Chinese in some states, and we've seen that happen, the CCP, but I relate it to our freedoms. It's such a metaphor for them having thousands of acres called Yellowstone. But today, I relate it to like, hey, they're taking our freedoms, and some people are so quickly to give them an inch, and then that inch turns into a mile, Jason.
Yep, that's exactly what happened with the COVID. I mean, we were all thrown into that mess, and it was unprecedented. But boy, the number of our freedoms that we sacrificed and had to give up, in hindsight, maybe unjustly in a lot of examples. But yeah, I mean that was definitely the start of it, and it's definitely something that we have to watch. And I agree 100%. You don't want to give an inch when it comes to that, because you give one example of freedom away, and they'll take another and another.
Yeah.
We see censorship. We don't even have freedom of speech like we used to at a time when we really need debate, because there's a lot of crazy ideas getting thrown around, and if you can't debate both sides, it's not going to be very productive.
Yeah, it's a one-party system. We're talking with attorney Jason Kobal here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. I'm a top real estate agent here in Tampa Bay, real estate team, Keller Williams Realty. And Jason is a local attorney. Support the local economy, folks, by supporting our show and our expert contributors. Jason, talk a little bit about your practice.
I primarily do injury law. So if you get injured on the job, that's workers' comp. If you get in a car accident, that's personal injury or a slip and fall or someone hurts you due to negligence. And then I also do Social Security disability and fair debt. So like medical debt that is not yours. It happens all the time. There's all kinds of illegal billing going on these days by hospitals and clinics. I do that as well. And then I'm very proud, and I got to admit, man, it was connections through you that made this possible, but I've been local counsel here on a couple big cases nationally, on defamation cases, representing the likes of Devin Nunes, Truth Social, and General Flynn's family. So I'm very proud to be involved in those cases. I can't get into them, but I'm very proud to be involved in them as local counsel. And I have to thank your show and you for the connections that made that possible. So, yeah, very exciting times at Kobal Law.
Glad to do it. Couldn't happen to a better guy, and Jason representing those folks, and they've got someone, a top-notch lawyer on their team. Real excited about that for you. That's awesome. So, yeah, I wanted to get to the southern border just because it's unbelievable, and Ted Cruz is talking about a scenario that played out just recently on the southern border with a 1-year-old child being abandoned.
When you look at the political decision, you talk a little bit more about this and why this administration isn't stopping it at this hearing and the back and forth. Let's take a listen.
Take a look at this image. This image was captured from a video shot in El Paso on March 24th, 2023, where a smuggler abandons a 1-year-old child, a Guatemalan boy, on the riverbank. This 1-year-old child now entered the unaccompanied minor alien child system currently administered by the Biden Health and Human Services. According to the Department of Health and Human Services, approximately 127,000 unaccompanied minors entered the United States during fiscal year 2022. So 1 year, 127,000 kids.
127,000. And they're not getting into that's not even talking about the drugs, the kidnapping, the sex trafficking, the gang activity that we're hearing. We talk all the time with Thomas King, Florida Firearms Academy, Alex Lima, Black Belt Fitness, and we talk about self-defense. And Jason, it's to the point where by embracing this, it's just pure evil.
I agree. I've never ever even heard of a country doing what we're doing, having an open border. And it's ironic because, remember during the Trump's run, they were, the media had AOC on crying down at the border and worried about children being separated from their parents. Now we have 127,000 children coming over here, and the drugs, like you said, coming in, and the cartels are more powerful than ever, and the media doesn't cover it, and so people aren't really concerned about it, but it's going to be a major problem. And my biggest concern is you would think after 9/11 we learned a lesson that we wouldn't allow so many people to come in unvetted. I mean, they're crossing with an open border. They're crossing. We don't know who they are, and we already know that there's been terrorists on the terrorist watch list that have been caught crossing. What about the ones that made it? So I think, unfortunately, we're going to have to learn another harsh lesson about being wise about vetting people into your country, because you just have to these days. And we're not.
Yeah, exactly. Attorney Jason Kobal here, Consumer Quarterback Show. We're going to take a quick break, come back, and talk more about what's happening locally here. USF getting a stadium. We're going to tease that story as well. Potentially getting a football stadium. Attorney Jason Kobal, Kobal Law here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. More with him coming up. Follow us online. We got Raise Tickets giveaway right now at Brandon Rhymes 1. On Instagram, at Brandon Rhymes PA. I've got the at CQB show as well, and at Real Mike Murphy's giving away 2 VIP tickets for the Rays game. It's coming up in July. Check us out online. Connect with us, consumerqb.com. We'll be right back.
Cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. My wife Lindsay and I own a top real estate team here in Tampa Bay. So if you're thinking about listing a property, list with the good guys. List with the folks that are going to sell it for more money. We're number 1 real estate team, top 100 team here in Tampa Bay. Number 1 real estate company in the world. Nobody sells more real estate than we do at Keller Williams. 11332 Marjorie Avenue. Check that. We just got a contract on that one. 15900 Oak Crest Circle. 15900 Oakcrest Circle. This one's in Brooksville. Beautiful property. This is a large lot. I love, the further north you go, you get larger lots. You get more acreage. You get some, little space between you and your neighbors, and I think that's a big trend. People are looking for that. This one's got a large home. It's a large lot. 4 bedrooms, 2 bath, 3-car garage. 15900 Oakcrest Circle in Brooksville. Beautiful property right here in Tampa Bay. We also have one over at 7202 US Highway 301 South. This one's a commercial property. We do vacant land, commercial sales, of course, residential. But this one is a corner lot location. You got a mechanic shop and an executive office for sale, operating currently as a barber shop. 7202 US Highway 301 South in Riverview. Premium corner lot, 2-building parcel. And you got newer roof on this property, and it's a great opportunity to own a property. I believe you're right around $700,000, $790,000 maybe. 7202 US Highway 301 South. You can see all of our listings, platinumcoastalelite.com.
This is God's country.
Yeah, follow us on social. We got that raise ticket giveaway going on right now as well. Raise ticket. So we got attorney Jason Kobal Law. Jason, I had one more thing I wanted to mention, because it's, these big names that you hear. You kind of hear some of these big names thrown out. You hear like George Soros, Bill Gates. But here's a clip also. This is very telling.
Kentucky Senator Rand Paul was on Fox News talking about that on Sunday, and he brought up the fact that Bill Gates has provided funding for the World Health Organization for just this kind of research. And that is still something that's not widely addressed.
Bill Gates is the largest funder of trying to find these viruses in remote caves and bring them to big cities. They bring them back to the lab, but then they manipulate them by combining them with other viruses to create viruses that don't exist in nature.
That's a senator in our United States Congress calling out one of the billionaires on the planet, one of the richest men, for having these nefarious type activities. And of course, they're tied to the left. Jason?
Yep. He was a true American hero during the COVID. He actually had the guts to stand up to Fauci and call him out for the gain-of-function research, which clearly we funded in Wuhan. And I personally think there should be no more gain-of-function research at all after what happened with COVID, or else if the next one's a little bit stronger, we'll be done as the human race. It's serious.
Yeah.
The gain-of-function, we're like mad scientists playing around with nature. So I'm proud of that senator, and he was one of the few that stuck up during COVID and called out Fauci, because it's really disturbing.
Yeah, he sure did, and it was interesting to see. I've heard a lot of other podcasts talking about the cover-up of Fauci with his emails and things of that nature. But yeah, Bill Gates, he needs to stop, man. Rand Paul sticking up for the good guys. I really like that. Now, what can we do about it? How do we win? When we move forward? How do we win? Here's a strategy put forth by the RNC. We've got to play their game.
Now, the RNC recently launched a Bank Your Vote campaign. Tell us about that campaign.
Yeah, we've launched a Bank Your Vote initiative. And really what this is educating voters, making sure they're aware that we have to take advantage of the laws as they are on the books. So during these early vote periods, during mail-in voting, we need to make sure that we're banking as many votes as possible before Election Day, because we can't let Democrats have a head start. Now, obviously...
Yeah, so they're basically talking about doing a similar activity, and nothing illegal, of course, like 2,000 Mules showed. I don't know if you've seen that, or any of the viewers. If you haven't seen that, go to salemnow.com. I'm very proud to work with Salem with our show, because Salem puts out some awesome content, very, very patriotic and America First type content. 2,000 Mules shows exactly what they did, how they did it, but they're talking about doing it legally here, Jason.
Well, maybe this was something that should have been done in 2020. Hindsight's, obviously perfect, but yeah, it's definitely wise to try to get in on early voting. I also noticed Trump is doing the same thing. I'll be honest, though, I'm not too pleased with the RNC or the Republican Party as it is. I mean, I think we all should be behind Trump for what, he's been subjected to with the targeting. And not only that, he's clearly, if you look at the polling, he's, in a spot of his own. I mean, DeSantis is second place with 25-30% behind him in most states. So I think it's foolish that there's so many candidates attacking him when we all know he's going to be the Republican candidate.
Yep.
But even his campaign is different. If you notice, he's stressing early voting, which is mail-in voting.
Yep.
And he's even talking to social media influencers, young social media influencers with all that money, because, man, those people have followers. So I do see a different approach to Trump's campaign, and I expect him to be able to beat Biden if he's a candidate for the Democrats, which it looks like it is.
Oh, yeah. He'll beat him handily this time. But you got to watch for the ballot stuffing by the left, printing of ballots coming in from, 3 o'clock in the morning type stuff, right?
Exactly. But here's my take. When he won in 2020, Biden, his approval rating right out of the gates was around 60%, even as high as 61 in one place. And then it dropped more than any president ever in their first term, down 27%. As low as 34 a couple weeks ago, set a record. So this is not 2020. We're going into 2024 with most of the country caught on to Biden, terrible approval rating, and we know that Trump was able to do a much better job if you just compare life under Trump versus Biden. So I do expect that the swing states are going to go to Trump, and that's going to lead to a significant victory.
Yeah, and then think about all of the election interference, even if they want to say it's unintentional, but it's there. Twitter files, everything.
Yeah, well, there's nothing we could do about this. Is now the third election that our DOJ has interfered in. If you look at 2016 with Hillary's scheme of the Trump-Russia, which I just talked about before.
Yep.
The 2020 with the Hunter Biden laptop being Russian misinformation and that letter signed by the 51 agents. And now 2024, 2 political indictments that President Trump is going to have to deal with as he's trying to run for his second term. That's right. Undeniable election interference, 3 in a row. Not even getting to the ballots and everything else like you were saying. It's an unfortunate situation.
That's attorney Jason Kobal Law, 727-263-3707. That's our hotline for any of our expert contributors, especially with attorney Jason Kobal or real estate, anything you need, 727-263-3707. Call or text that hotline. And Jason, what's the website again?
It's TampaWorkCompLaw.com.
TampaWorkCompLaw.com. Jason Kobal, thanks again. Appreciate it. Taking a quick break, coming back, Jenny Restrepo, Insured Title Agency. We're going to talk about real estate trends here in Tampa Bay and also ESG. We'll explain it coming up next here. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.